All right, let's react to Tekken 8, the final preview.
The first fight in Tekken 8 story mode would probably be the finale in just about any other fighting game.
Okay.
A multi-stage, knock-down, drag-out slobber knocker between Jin Kazama and Kazuya Mishima that results in a crashed helicopter, leveled buildings, and an aerial sequence that wouldn't be out of place in the Matrix Revolutions or Man of Steel.
It's a slobber knocker.
It's incredibly
It's a slobber knocker.
This isn't a spoiler, by the way. It's the first 10 to 15 minutes, and it only gets more interesting.
The first 10 to 15 minutes? Sounds like a spoiler.
But before we get into all that, let me set the scene and introduce the players.
Okay. Tekken 8, the final preview.
I spent about 3 hours playing Tekken 8 this past week. I started with the story mode. From the word go, you'll notice how incredible everything looks, to the point that certain transitions between cinematics and gameplay are sometimes hard to spot.
That's crazy. See what I'm saying?
And then there are the fights themselves. Alternatively
That's crazy.
Brutal, wild, and unique affairs that change depending on...
So it just transitioned directly from the cutscene into the fight.
On what's happening in the story. What struck me most was how intimate many of the fights felt. Things going badly for your character in the cinematics, you might start the next scrap at lower health, or be unable to use certain techniques.
It's pretty cool.
Alternatively, you might also have access to special moves that would be too powerful for normal play, or gain access to new stuff when the plot calls for it. There's a sense of continuity and escalation to the fights that many fighting game story modes don't have. And being able to fight the same character several times in succession helps sell the uniqueness of their fighting styles, their relationships with the other fighters, and the stakes at play.
Okay.
I'll spoil as little as possible, but by the time I was out of the first chapter, the stage was set for the next King of Iron Fist tournament. Old faces were banding together to take down Kazuya. Fan favorites were fighting
Steve
out for tournament slots. Jin was facing down his literal demons. Kazuya was hamming it up for the cameras, and new
Reina.
Characters like Reina were adding an air of mystery to the whole affair.
Reina.
How would it all play out? I didn't know, but I was excited for each fight.
That's a nice scene.
I was so invested in the whole thing that I nearly didn't recognize the point at which I was supposed to stop playing.
Who is that, though?
Producers Katsuhiro Harada and Michael Murray couldn't give me an exact length for Tekken 8 story mode, but they did say that it would be about 1.5 times as long as Tekken 7's, which is impressive given the sense of scale and attention to detail on display.
It's pretty cool.
As well as how many members of the main cast were meaningfully involved in the sections I saw. Of course, that number doesn't include the individual character episodes, one for each of the 32 members of Tekken 8's launch roster, which...
Wait, Raven, are you gonna just... Why is he just staring like that?
I unfortunately wasn't allowed to touch.
Alright, he leaves.
After about an hour with the story mode, I switched over to Arcade Quest, though I could have gone to almost anywhere in the large part of Tekken 8 Bandai Namco made available to me.
I
picked Arcade Quest for 2 reasons. First, because as someone who found my love of fighting games in the arcades of yesteryear, I was eager to see how Tekken Project had approached the mode after...
Words become redundant when simply playing a match together tells 1,000 tales.
Seeing so much of it, but being unable to play it during our October IGN First coverage. Second, because Murray told me Tekken Project envisioned Arcade Quest being the second stop for most players.
Is this... Like, what if, I don't think they're going to have it, but what if this was this is real, but like, is this going to be like for tournaments? Like, what if they had a tournament setting where people could watch around and it's like on a big screen in the background right there? And like the players are actually like right there. Maybe it is a thing. Maybe it is a thing.
The story mode. I wanted to see how well that path worked.
It's crazy though. It still looks good.
The story mode and father-son showdown between Jin Kazama and Kazuya Mishima is where most lapsed and first-time players will be introduced to Tekken's story and world. Arcade Quest is where they'll pick their character and start their journey toward Tekken mastery. This mode drops you into the shoes of a Tekken newbie who has joined up with a squad of Tekken fans excited about Tekken 8. After witnessing a tournament won by the only thing that matters is winning Orochi, who, unsurprisingly, looks like, dresses like, and plays as Kazuya Mishima. Your crew decides to enter the Tekken World Tour and prove him wrong in the most fighting game way possible, by punching him in the virtual face. First, though, you'll need to learn how to play Tekken, and that's just what Arcade Quest is designed to do.
Well, this is perfect. Max, this is perfect for newcomers.
Something of a Tekken expert. We'll sit down and show you the basics.
Okay.
Teaching you how to do basic combos or use mechanics like Heat Smash.
It's pretty good.
In a normal fighting game, you'd be sped along to the next lesson. But after Max teaches you a couple of things...
Look at these, arcade quests, run tutorial, change characters, check how to play. Look at all these options here.
You're turned loose in Gong, your small, local arcade, which, according to Harada and Murray, is more representative of a Japanese arcade than some of the other ones you'll encounter later on. From there, you're free to challenge other players, each with their own different playstyles. Of course, you've got your core group of friends. Prim is all about using Tekken's character customization to show off her style, and her character reflects that. Beat is also new to Tekken, and focuses on landing flashy moves. Nick is the competitive type, and secretly hopes to farm you for rank points. Max just wants you to have fun.
Max,
you can
Max, hold up. Hold up. I shouldn't hit like hold on. Wait, let me play this real quick.
New to Tekken and focuses on landing flashy moves.
So shouldn't this person be named Max?
Nick is the competitive type.
Come on now.
And secretly hopes to farm you for rank points. And Max just wants you to have fun. But you can challenge anyone you run into. Each one seems designed to teach you something. One will use different wake-up options each time to throw you off guard. Another really likes to use his heat attacks. My favorite was a player hidden in the back who is a much higher rank than everyone else at Gong. He played an absolutely nasty Feng Wei and smoked me both times I played him.
What? Is this Feng Wei nasty?
As you play, Max will give you challenges to complete using the things he's taught you, and you'll snag rewards for doing so. Other characters will offer rewards for completing certain tasks.
Whoa,
like
who is that?
Using a heat smash or performing a specific launcher.
The customization is so crazy. It looks so good.
Meanwhile, a selection of your character's useful moves will be displayed on screen to help you get started. I used the opportunity to learn Victor, as I hadn't had a chance to play him in previous builds. His fast and flashy, sword and gun focused style is...
You know what? You know, I did say in a trailer he kind of has some similarities to Noctis. But looking at this right now...
Just as cool as it looks in his trailer.
It looks like he has even more similarities to Noctis. Yeah.
I debated...
Listen to the music, though. That's cool.
I debated sticking with him for my whole run with Arcade Quest, but then I had an idea. Since I was going to learn about my character just by playing them in this mode, why not also play Reina? The other totally new addition to the cast.
Lydia.
I fell in love with her immediately, mostly because she reminded me of Lydia, the Prime Minister of Poland, and my...
You can just, like, her movements, you just know, like it's very similar to Lydia.
Main from Tekken 7.
Look at, it's very similar.
Had electrics. A fast, aggressive stance character with great buttons and good damage? Yes, please.
I thought she did have an electric, though.
Plus, she's got some great costumes, and enters her matches sitting on a throne. Stop the like. I stuck with her almost exclusively during the rest of my time with Tekken 8, taking breaks only for Azucena and Leroy.
Wait a minute, bruh. So, they're in space. They're fighting in space.
Of my time with Tekken 8, taking breaks only for Azucena and Leroy.
The graphics, it's crazy.
After playing around in training mode to get a better glimpse of Reina's kit, running a few sets with a friend who also happened to be there, good games, Kai. And sitting down for some Tekken Ball, which is just as good and ridiculous as you remember. I hopped into Super Ghost Battle. I gotten a glimpse of it during the CBT, but here there was a huge list of ghosts.
Look at the ranks. The new ranks. We got Bushin.
I gotten a glimpse of it during the CBT.
Bushin, Kishin.
But here there was a
Rajan.
Huge list of
Battle ruler,
ghosts to challenge.
eliminator, destroyer.
So
What does that say? I can't really read that. It's kind of. Does that say dominate? I can't even see the. Yeah, it says dominator. Dominator.
oh, I started the
What is that? Assailant, I think.
bottom and worked my way up.
Warrior.
Ghosts are still remarkably impressive. They play like real people, tendencies and all, for better and worse. Like to default to a particular round start option?
I hope so.
Your ghost.
Like, I hope so. Like, I didn't get to really play with the ghost battle thing in the beta, so I'm not quite sure on how this is gonna work out.
Will do that too. Move a certain way? Ditto for your ghost. Default towards certain wake up and Oki options? Your ghost will emulate it. But what impressed me most was just how fast the ghosts learn.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about your ghost, which will greatly resemble you after just a few games and quite literally learns on the fly.
You're selling
I'm talking
it.
about
You're selling it.
started responding to my offense and forcing me to go to the next layer levels of learning in real time. The sort of thing you see from real players.
Look at the stage.
Particularly at higher levels of play. Obviously, the ghost was just reacting the way the player it's based on would, but when I sat down with Harada and Murray after my play session, I had to ask how they did this. Fighting game AI is notoriously tricky to implement, and even the best ones often default to patterns that are easy to notice if you pay attention. That was just how the ghosts worked, they told me. And yes, they did
It's just how it works.
learn in real time.
KO.
Harada speculated that Tekken 8's Ghost might be the highest level AI available in any fighting game.
Okay.
You'll need to play the final game to know for sure, but
Yeah.
based on what I've seen so far, I'm not inclined to disagree.
All right.
I left the
All right. You're not inclined to disagree. You're selling this. You're selling this very well.
event feeling that way about much of Tekken 8. It's rare for a fighting game to truly move the needle and advance the genre because of how well established and codified it is.
Look at the genes, like the
Even truly
customizations.
great fighters often don't manage to do it. But over the last few years,
They
we've had
are.
several fighters, from Guilty Gear Strive to Street Fighter 6, push
Look at this. Look at the background. We are fighting in space in Tekken 8. It looks like a volcano in space, but
the genre
still.
forward in exciting ways. Tekken 8 feels like it has the potential to be the next name on that list. It's a tall order, and we won't know until January.
The beat. Listen to the
Potential to be
beat.
the next name on that list. It's a tall order, and we won't know until January. But if you told me Tekken 8 was highly seated in its bracket, I'd believe you. We'll just have to wait
So, yo, Tekken is actually highly seated in its bracket. Okay.
until January to run the sets and find out how everything holds.
How did he get a yellow? Like, why is it yellow? Like, how do you get this?
Up on the biggest stage when the lights are shining brightest.
This is